We are going to make 3 kinds of natto using 3 different types of beans. We are going to use 250 grams of black beans, and we are also going to use 250 grams of soybeans, and we are going to use 250 grams of chickpea beans. Now we have rinsed beans, and now we are going to soak them in the water.
This in a country of 150 million swollen across the better part.
で、このフレームを、これで30分から取るね。はい、いきます。はい、まだ押してもダメだからまだやります。はい。いい香りだ。これです。はい。全然ままそう。
So right now, my son and I are in a small village visiting my friend. She's a pottery artist, and her partner, and she make all those beautiful pottery. So I use those beautiful pottery to make natto. And natto is a Japanese traditional fermented food, which is very healthy. And usually in the United States, you have to go to a Japanese grocery store to buy packed natto. But since it is very expensive, you can actually use to make your own natto. And if you have a soy allergy, you can use chickpea instead. And we made 3 kinds of natto. One is using leaves of persimmon tree. They have a good bacteria. So we just steamed or cooked soybeans for 2 hours, and then put all the leaves on top and beneath of the Tupperware, and you leave it in a cooler box for 1 to 2 days, and now you can see those beautiful nattos. And this is chickpea with herbs. This is basil that my friend made at her own yard. And this is chickpea nattos. And this is a regular soybean nattos using bamboo leaves. And they are ready. Usually it takes 1 to 2 days to ferment. And then you can take it out, all the leaves, and then put it in the refrigerator for 1 day to 2 days, and then it's ready. And if you cannot eat this much, you actually can put in a small container and freeze it. And you could have it anytime you want. And natto, many people has an allergy of soybeans, but once you ferment it, many good natural, many good health benefits arise during fermenting process. And this natto has very good enzyme that help to go into bloodstream and reduce the clot. So if you have heart problem, it's nice to have natto once in a while. It goes well with grinded daikon. That daikon also has a good enzyme, so it helps to clean your bloodstream. So I was going to show how to make natto on a video clip first, but could not make it. So just show you the final product. If you have any questions, please call me or send me a message. I can show you how to. I hope I can answer all your questions.
There's a couple of questions in the chat, and I'll just read those to you. The first one was when you were showing the different types of natto, was what kind of tree? What were the leaves from the different trees that you were using or plants?
Yes, this is leaves of persimmon, but but you can use any kinds of leaves. Like this is bamboo leaves. They usually has a very good enzyme, bacteria. So you could use any, or you can also use basil or rosemary, any kinds of herbs. And if you use herbs, it's the smell of the natto reduced. We get used to eating natto as it's from our culture, but for many Americans don't like the smell of the natto. But if you make your own natto using herbs, the smell is not too bad, so you could easily consume.
Another question is, how long does it last in the refrigerator?
It lasts quite long, 7 to 10 days, but you could just freeze it, and then it will last almost a year.
Okay. And what temperature do you incubate it at? Is it in a cooler, or is it, how do you incubate it?
It should be about 105 Fahrenheit. So in a cooler box, we use we use a glass jar, boiling water. We boil the water and pour in a glass jar and wrapped with towels and store in a cooler box, and then keep it warm. So occasionally you need to change the hot water to keep the temperature warm.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another question, what kind of beans are the dark ones that are the finished product you have in front of you?
Oh, this is black beans.
Okay.
And you can use any kinds.
Any kind?
But black beans are very delicious. Good for your kidney.
Excellent. Another comment, it says, some seem to smell a lot. Is there a difference between different was to stop that? Oh, and you did mention that herbs help to make it less stinky for us Americans.
Right. But so I think I'm going to send you information of the benefits of natto. It's very, very healthy. If you have, sometimes it's nice to eat natto if you have heart problems, or it's also good for your brains. So many old Japanese people eat natto almost every day, and they are very healthy. I think it's one of the reasons is having fermented natto has lots of enzyme.
Excellent. There is a question on the leaves. Do you wash those before you put those in? What do you do with them before you use those in the natto?
Yeah, actually it was on my video clip, but first you need to rinse your beans well, and then soak beans in the water for 1 day, overnight. So the size of the bean becomes twice as big. And then you steam using pressure cooker, or just use pot to cook it for 2 hours.
Excellent. We have a question. Do you skin the soybeans after soaking? Do you get rid of the soybean skins? Do you leave them on? What do you do?
We don't. We use the whole. That's the main goal, because the skin also has fiber and minerals. So we eat the whole thing as a gift from the heaven or the earth.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Those are all of the questions that I see in the chat. Does anyone else have any other questions that they wanted to ask? Also, if anyone would prefer to talk with Shinobeau directly, you can just unmute yourself with a *6 or the unmute button. So you can ask too if you don't want to type it. I have a personal question for you, Shinobeau. You make all of these different amazing fermented foods. You make natto, you make miso, you make amazake, you make all kinds of amazing fermented things. What would you say out of all of those, if you were getting started with just starting out fermenting like your first thing, what would you say is the easiest to start with? Would you say it's the natto to start with, or one of the other ones? What do you suggest?
Natto is the easiest one, but for the taste, maybe everybody likes amazake because it has sweetness and easy. Amazake also easy to make, and it tastes. You can make it like a yogurt, and you could use amazake as a dessert. So I recommend how to make. I recommend to make amazake, and if you go on my website, I put the recipe of how to make amazake, also the health benefits.
Fabulous. I'll put your website into the chat too so people can find it easily. We have a couple more questions for you. Someone was saying, could you tell us what it takes to make amazake real quick? And could you explain, what goes into making amazake? Is it a quick explanation? Is that possible?
Amazake, all you need is koji. You can buy at Asian store, koji and brown rice or white rice, any kinds of rice, and water. If you can make a porridge, then add same amount of the porridge of koji and mix well, and then keep it warm temperature. If you have a rice cooker, you could use that rice cooker to ferment amazake, but don't keep the lid open and put some cloth on top so that it doesn't get too hot to kill the bacteria of koji.
Okay, so we can use a rice cooker, but put like a towel over the top of it just so it's kind of breathable and doesn't get too hot. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like to suggest making strawberry amazake. Right now, you buy a lot of strawberry and it's hard to keep it fresh. But if you have amazake, you leftover of your strawberry or blueberry, you could just cut small piece and put it into the amazake, and then leave it 2 days in a refrigerator, and it's very tasty and it tastes like strawberry yogurt. So if you have leftover strawberry or blueberry, you can use them to make strawberry amazake. It's very tasty.
I had your amazake last year at camp. It was absolutely delicious.
Thank you.
But I missed your class last year, so I'm glad I know now that you have a video we can check out on your website for that too.
Yes,
we have a few more questions here. Somebody wanted to know, can you eat too much fermented food? How do you feel about that? Do you think people can eat too much of the fermented foods?
I think it depends on everybody. I think it depends on everybody's condition. But for me, I don't eat too much. I mean, natto sometimes once in a week, and miso soup every day, and amazake once in a while. But it has lots of enzyme, so help the digestion and keep your skin clear. So I think it's good, rather than not having fermented food. I think American people should eat more fermented food to help their for their health benefits.
Absolutely agree with that 100%. Next question we have is, what starts the fermentation? Just the bacteria on the leaves when you do the natto? Is it the bacteria that starts the fermentation from those leaves, or do you add something else to create that starter with the natto?
Usually at the store-bought natto, they buy natto mold, and some of them use they buy natto as a packed natto and use a little bit of natto for a starter. But I think using herbs are also a good idea. Has lots of good bacteria, which I didn't know. Long time ago in Japan, only they said you can make natto with straw of rice. But nowadays, people seem to use lots of herbs or leaves to make natto.
Okay, and then someone said, would washing the leaves or herbs remove the bacteria needed? Which you did already mention that, you're cleaning them, but you're not heating it up. You soaked the leaves. So can you just elaborate on, how that helps with the bacteria?
You could just rinse them and then maybe put in boiling water for 5 minutes. That would be the best. But this time I didn't do it. Didn't have much time. Sometimes I just rinse leaves clean thoroughly and then wipe all the moist and then put on a cooked soy or chickpeas. But if you are worried about germs, it's better to boil just 5 minutes. 5 seconds in a boiling water, dump, and then pick it up, and then wipe, and then put on the product. Put on the soybeans. The reason this has moist is it gets moist. It has moist on the process of fermentation.
Okay, so it's getting moisture from the fermentation. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. We have a little bit more time here. Does anyone else have any questions, or they want to take themselves off of mute and ask a question directly or share their experiences and adventures in natto with Shinobeau? I love your kitchen, by the way, and the knives hanging up above on the wall on the metal strip.
Thank you. I'm just going to show you around the house, and this is my friend Yuko. She's a pottery artist, and her partner is Francis, is also a pottery artist. And this is in front of the house. This is a very small village in Nara Prefecture. And you can hear the sound of cicada.
What part of Japan are you in?
It's Nara Prefecture, close to Kyoto.
Okay. It's beautiful.
Oh, sorry for the video clip that I was not able to send it to you, but it only takes 6 minutes to watch, and you can see the whole process. So hopefully you will have a chance to watch the video.
Well, what I will do is I will send you a Google Drive link and we'll have you drop it right onto a Google Drive. And then I
Okay.
will take it and I will edit it into the front end of your class. So your video will all be one piece all together. You'll be all set. So if anyone else has any more questions or anything for Shinobeau, you have a number of thank yous on here. Shinobeau, also beautiful. Thank you for the tour. What a special treat to see your home there. And
Thank you so much. And I missed the summer retreat.
we
I
missed
missed
too. And you know what I found out today, just recently, there is a fire up in the area of Camp Sylvester and they had to evacuate the area today. So we actually, because of forest fires, would not have been able to have the event anyway. So 2021 is just bringing us all kinds of crazy surprises, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, so we're glad that you were able to join us from Japan. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much.
We'll
Thank
have
you.
your video and all that ready for everybody in the next couple of days. And thank you again, Shinobeau, for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jenny and Patrick. Thank you so much for helping me.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.